Imagine 4 years ago, you're working a pretty decent job and you're just a regular person. You have some money, but not the most. But you really want to become a content creator. So you meet some person and you guys become a podcast. And of course, at first, nobody's watching you, nobody really knows you. But through some connections, you end up becoming a really large podcast. You quit your regular job and you're making a lot of money. Now let's stop right there. It's one thing to make a lot of money, and you can make a lot of money and nobody knows you. And that's probably what everybody would like to have as a lifestyle. Being super rich, nobody knows me, and I just kind of slip through the cracks. But what happens when you're rich and you're very popular, and at the same time, you gain influence? I'm trying to tell you, it's too much for the normal mind to bear. And when it happens at the same time to a regular person, boy, look out. And that is something you call the big head complex. It's happened to many people on social media. It's almost happened to me until I got put back in my place. But it did happen to Fresh and Fit. Now, let me just tell you this. This is not just them. It's athletes, it's entertainers, it's pastors. Anybody who becomes rich and famous, they go through this stage. And instead of being humble, sometimes somebody has to humble us for our own good. And this is exactly the case here. Let me tell you what I'm talking about. Fresh and Fit had a clear road to success once they got going. All they had to do was just calm down a little bit on some of the stuff they were talking about. They would have still been making money and doing very well on YouTube. But of course, as you start getting more money, your ego starts growing too. And so what happened with them was it started to become more controversial. Doing interviews with Nick Fuentes, doing interviews with Andrew Tate, people who had been deplatformed off YouTube, and Sneeko. Now that was sort of disrespectful to YouTube because they had already kicked these guys off the platform. So who do you think you are to bring those guys on the platform and make money and talk about controversial things? But I don't think that was the one thing that really kicked them off. And after listening to Destiny's rant about them being deplatformed, he had something very interesting to say.
I don't know why he felt it so necessary to lean so hard into such a niche brand of extremist content. I mean, like, I'm sure they'll reflect on that in a few years. I don't actually know how old is Myron. I have no idea. Is he 33? Oh, I mean, I don't know. He hasn't been in the space for, I guess, as long. I'm sure he'll probably think about it in a year or two and he'll be like, yeah, like if motivating young men and all that shit is like what I actually want to do, then maybe, you know, questioning the official count of the Holocaust wasn't the direction to go.
Now, it's not just him who said something to this effect. Remember, he's trying to say that Fresh and Fit are even talking about the Holocaust. Now, I've never heard them talk about it, but these guys must understand that if that's the case. You guys are a dating podcast. Why are you talking about the Holocaust? It makes no sense. It's not a political podcast. But again, after they've hung out with Nick Fuentes and all these other guys, you know, becoming friends again with just pearly things, now they're getting a little more extreme. But then Alba and Preach also verified it with this.
So even though these guys were bringing in so much money to YouTube and their income, they weren't worth the negative cost that they potentially would bring with a bad press story. And that's what these guys are. They're a bad news story waiting to happen. The New York Times will probably write something someday about misogyny being rampant on YouTube, or racism or whatever it is being rampant on YouTube, and they're going to play clips of these guys doing monkey noises and calling people all kinds of things, right? Or doing the KK, you know, putting on the white hood, right? They're going to play those clips. YouTube doesn't need that kind of bad advertising. You want to be able to be free to do whatever you want. YouTube says, sure, but we're not going to make you part of the partner program. We're not going to allow you to make money off this site because we don't want to be associated with your brand. So they're sitting here now like they don't get it, but like all these conspiracy theories that they've been bringing on their platform, all the dumb shit that they've done, you know, they want to sit here and cry about it now, but I already said you were willing to throw away your platform to do the dumbest, unfunniest jokes possible, the dumbest minstrel show. So it's easy to sit here and be like, oh, this is so devastating, but you weren't really thinking about your platform or maintaining your shit when you were doing that dumb stuff.
So wait a minute. It seems like Alba and Preach are also saying the same thing about these guys. They had said something that was really crazy somehow about the Jewish community. But then Charleston White also mentioned something about his own experience, about talking about Jewish people. Let's play that clip.
Say what you want. They want me to go in. They just don't want me to go in on the Jew or the Jewish people. I can talk about white men, white women, and white babies, and it'll play forever. I could talk about you y'all babies. It play forever. I could talk about Africa, North Korea. It plays forever. But if you say something about Jews and Asians, I lose everything. I've been taking note. So they hyping me up to go in, to be mean and hateful, just not against them. So they hit me back. When we come back, Unc, I'm still Unc now. Do you want to get on Discord and talk about what happened tonight on stream? They think I'm dumb.
So wait a minute. You mean to tell me these guys got the bag, they made the bag in a dating platform setting? All you had to do was keep it PI about the dating content. Now, of course, them kicking women out and IG models out, that might have been bad, but maybe not bad enough to get demonetized. But then again, with the Ku Klux Klansman stuff and the gear and the aping sounds and pissing off big YouTubers that probably had a lot of pull within the network and, you know, things like that, being overconfident and then talking about things like the Holocaust, that probably cost them the channel and demonetization. Now, why is this? Because these guys got into their own ego. Now, for me, I don't deal with anything else than the black community. I'm only on here talking about the black community. Anything else is not in my expertise. And to be honest, I don't talk about it. I'm here to talk about only the black community and things that African-American men go through. That's all I deal with. It's all I've ever dealt with. It's all that I plan to deal with. I don't really deal with LGBTQ things. I don't really deal with a whole lot of white people or anybody else or any other protected groups or things like that. It's really not my concern. And it shouldn't have been their concern. But the reality is that when you have fans who gas you up and you have people that you're collaborating with who've already been deplatformed, guess what? They also don't care if you're deplatformed. Why? Birds of a feather flock together. And this is one thing you got to realize once you start getting money. You have to get away from people who don't have it. But that's not what Fresh and Fit did. They aligned themselves with people who might have had some money, but they didn't care about staying on YouTube. So you ended up dealing with these people, and then you ended up having like the guy, what's his name? Nick Fuentes say the N-word right there in your live broadcast. And then now you end up being demonetized. You lose your clips channels, you lose all your personal channels, and you had people watching you. Now look at you. And I want guys to really learn from this. There are some people around you that you are hanging around who just don't care about your success. Because listen, if those guys really cared about them, they'd be like, listen, bro, I got deplatformed. I don't think having me on your platform is a great idea because you're most likely going to be deplatformed. I don't think that YouTube appreciates the fact that you're bringing on somebody like me who's controversial onto the platform when we've already been kicked off the platform. They probably want me off the platform for a reason, and that reason is that they don't want me or anybody else making money on the platform because of our history with the platform. So you bringing me on the platform is just as bad as me being reinstated with the platform when I'm not supposed to be here on the platform. But that's not what they thought. They felt they could do whatever they wanted to do. So YouTube dealt with them accordingly, and accordingly is just what they got. And if you don't understand something, man, if people are doing bad, don't care about their life, when they get around you, they won't care about yours. And none of those people, Nick Fuentes, Sneeko, Andrew Tate, will help Fresh and Fit achieve anything. So much for, really going around, hanging around with those other people who are not black. Let's see if they help your ass now. I guarantee you that they won't. But, hey, maybe it's me, but I guess you just learned today. But guys, what do you think? It's your boy O'Shea Duke Jackson back at it again with another episode of The Celebrity Junk. I appreciate you for all of you subscribe to the bell. We're out.